You may kind of tailor your searches to, Robert Dahl or Robert Dahl. He was a feminist, actually. He had all sisters, and he was very, forward-thinking with equal rights for men and women, which is interesting, as you may have gotten from this letter. So you can click on one that's interesting to you. You probably won't use everything you open. It probably will take some searching and looking through, and then, etc. This is probably not very good. And then you can highlight and take notes on. You can print, email. I usually email stuff to myself and then kind of go through it more thoroughly before I decide to print it out. Well, that's definitely one that would be a little bit meatier to use for the assignments. So, Going So Low. That's a collection of short stories. It's really good. Okay, so the second one I want to look at with you also falls under the biography. It's this one. This one puts all your search results from different types of sources together, and what I always recommend people do before they go to magazines, because they're easy to read, or biographies because they're just biographical, is just take a look at the search results jumbled together, because you may get a search result back from a literary journal or from a review or a trade publication that you didn't originally think that you would want to use. This is kind of funny, so we're just talking about that. Okay, here you go. This is kind of cool because the book that we were talking about having to get, it's a review, so never mind, it won't be helpful. But it may give you some idea of some of the letters that you would want to look at. Okay. So again, you can email, print, save it. You can add to a folder, and it gives you a little folder of stuff. It gives you the HTML and the PDF. PDFs can be cool because they have visuals. HTMLs are simply easier to read because they've been reformatted, and you need Adobe, which everything has now, or a PDF reader to open one. Does not look very interesting. Okay. So the next one that we're going to look at is JSTOR, and JSTOR is almost exclusively academic journal articles. You'll need to use one for the paper. So this is typically where people get them from, although they're available on the other three that we're going to look at. See, it's pretty much all journals. And a lot of times these are, and it may take some digging through to find a specific one about the piece of literature that you're looking for. Is it, looking through? Strange, I just want to know what that is. I just accepted, but whatever. Okay. Let's see about getting kids medicine. Okay, so you have that option available to you. Again, that's one primarily focused on literary journals. Since you need one, that would be the best place to look for that. However, they are available on other ones too. And the other three that we're going to look at briefly are all located with the word lit, either at the beginning or embedded in the word. So Lit Finder. It's not just a collection of literature, it has articles too. You may have used JSTOR in a humanities class. Has anybody used it? There's so much to write about with him. Like he has touched upon in his literature every aspect of his entire life. This one, however, make yourself a note that if you use Lit Finder to click on full text documents, it defaults to that on most databases, but not on this one. So if you don't, you'll get abstracts for sources that you can't access, which is frustrating and unsatisfying. Okay, there's not much on here about him. Topic, work overviews. This one's kind of touch and go, depending on who you're writing about. Literature, Literary Reference Center Plus. Again, you want to limit to full text on that one as well. I never click on any restrictions at first when I do a search besides full text, because I like to see like what all is available. And, you know, again, it just is digging, looking for what you particularly want to focus on based on the literary works you're using. You know, and almost sometimes looking at this first can be helpful because it'll help you pick out literary works that are most representative of the person's life and or the time period or events in his or her life that's most interesting to you, maybe that you didn't even know about. So that's an idea to do as well. And this one also has a lot of journals. 125. It's kind of interesting. And while I wouldn't recommend using a novel for this assignment, if you have one that you're like dead set on using, you're welcome to do so. It just kind of broadens the assignment a little bit. If you love Matilda and want to write about that, you can. It just, again, broadens it a little bit. Okay, and the last one is literature. Reference Center, I believe it's called, right? Literature resources from Gale. This one, I believe, is the one that's best for biographies. It gives you the most, yes. And I like this one too because it gives you the word count on the sources, which is nice because you don't want to pick something that's 25,000 words. And again, over here, it gives you the different type of your search results. If it's general to begin with, we'll give you all of them. And this is probably where you'll get the best biography from. Oh, and again, it gives you the word count, which is kind of cool because then you know what you're entering into. And you want to read through like the little thing because it will tell you what it focuses on primarily. Some are like early life biographies, and some are later ones. And then sometimes you'll have, you know, biographies about people that you're not actually looking for. Okay. And the last thing that I want to show you is how to use the advanced Google search option if you don't already know how to do it. Okay. Maybe you want to use the story about a prisoner of war, or you want to look for Alright, so with any normal search that you do on Google, the majority of the source search results that you'll get back will come from .com. Not that you can't use a .com, that would be in addition to the 3 sources that are required. You just want to be a little bit more apprehensive about trusting them entirely until you read through them and look at who published them and what sort of citations they have with them. So, you would go to Tools, never mind, Settings, I always get it wrong. Click on Settings, click on Advanced Search, and this brings you to the following template, which has a lot of different areas to put information in. For this particular assignment, you'll limit it to .edu. You may want to try .org too, because nonprofit organizations don't typically have an agenda, especially with writing about literature. So I'm going to put in .edu. If you're writing an assignment, say about anything current and you're looking for information, you would limit it to, you know, the past year or however frequently you want the information. But for this particular assignment, since, you know, people's lives don't change, typically that died 100 years ago, not that he did, you know, that 100 years ago, but with this, it's not important to limit the time. You'd be like, oh, okay, feminism is interesting about Roald Dahl, like The Witches is the primary text that exhibits his feelings on feminism. It's actually a really good book, too. So, yeah. How many people learned something from that? Everybody? Okay. All right, so what I want to go over with you now is just some of the mundanities of MLA. And again, this should be like review. However, I don't know if it is, so I want to make sure I'm thorough enough that people that aren't well acquainted with the different aspects of MLA, leave here, able to do so. Alright. So a lot of sources that you get back will boast a works cited entry on the bottom. And those are correct about like 60 to 70% of the time, and most internet articles have nothing. So what I like people to be comfortable doing is understanding how to use the MLA formatting guide to do their own citations or to correct the ones that are given to you by any technology-driven service or computer-generated citation from a database. So looking at this page,
Real quick,
yes.
When it said The Witches by Roland, is that of the same movie that was